All right. So I want to kick off today. Everyone on here, my name is Trent Martin. If you didn't already know me, I've been here at Tai. I just started here earlier this year, really excited. Been in the freight tech space the last 5 years. Here with my colleague, Nick McGill. He's one of Tai's sales engineers. He's worked at Tai for about 3 years, but he's been in that logistics and software space for the last 10 years, and he's going to be the one driving the demo. Really wanted to thank you all for showing up here today. Excited to showcase what makes Tai different. And really, for those of you who aren't as familiar with Tai, or maybe you've never heard of us before, I wanted to go into kind of a brief backstory on why it was built and who we are. So when Tai was built originally, it was built with this friction in mind that we're facing in the industry. So every one of that original team had 20 plus years in the industry. They built it around the problems they were running into. And that's really what has allowed us to be the fastest growing broker TMS over the last 6 years. And really, Tai is built for the freight brokers that are looking to grow and scale their business. And we're super laser focused on being the best TMS for truckload, LTL. We've got drayage in there. And really, in general, we're combating these market realities we're facing. So if we look at what's happening in today's market, things are changing pretty quickly. I'm sure you've seen, but regardless, we're facing margin pressure issues, time pressure issues. There's inbox clutter, quoting speed, all of these things we're trying to showcase within this demo. It's not going to be just a generic click-through demo of everything we have. This system is so complex, but we wanted to show you 5 specific problems that we're going to go through and really how Tai handles them in real workflows. So I'm going to pass it off to Nick, and he's going to be able to showcase what 5 problems we're going to cover today and showcase the demo today.
Yeah, thanks, Trent, and thank you everybody for joining again. I know living in the logistics world is always busy. So as he said, we're going to cover kind of 5 main topics. Our topics today are going to be about our email integrations and how that can bring operational efficiency within your brokerage. We're going to go into faster quoting and what that means and how do we get quotes back to our customers quickly, which will ultimately help us win more freight. We're going to also go through our workflow automation tool. It's a pretty special feature within Tai where we can drive efficiency, create our own automation, get rid of a lot of the menial tasks that you do every day. And then we'll go over better decision making and what that means, like what having the best data in front of us, how that can help us make better decisions. And then ultimately, how do we protect our customers' business and how do we grow that business? So without further ado, what we're looking at here, I'm sharing my screen. We're looking at the main landing page of Tai. This is a page that you would see when you first log into the TMS. Every user can have kind of their own dashboards and cards, and it's meant to give you a bird's eye view into what's going on with your business. Now, there's a lot that I could show you just on this page, but where I want to kind of focus your attention to is this page right here, or this card. This is called our task list. Task list is used for several different reasons. Maybe there's like load assignments, for example. I cover freight for a specific customer, so all their loads get assigned over to me. What it also does is it does emails. So Tai is directly integrated with all of the major inboxes out there. So you're looking at like Google, Microsoft, Front. And what that means for users is you don't have to go into your inbox to send emails to carriers, customers, shippers, consignees. We can do that all directly from the TMS. Every load has this little envelope on it where we could send rate confirmations, we can send tracking updates to our customers. And this task list also, what it does is it, with that email integrations, is it pulls in specific emails. So let's just say, I'm a customer sales rep. I have a customer that sends me over a quote. What would happen is our AI tool, we call it the Tai email assistant. It's been trained to recognize specific verbiage in an email. So customer says, hey, Nick, I need a rate going from Atlanta to Chicago. It's a dry van. What that AI is going to do is it's going to take that email from your inbox and it's going to stick it into the TMS for you. So what it would look like in this scenario is you'll get a pop-up. It will say, hey, you have an email related task. You need to check that out. So I'm going to go over here. This is our task list page, and this is where I can kind of look at all my tasks that I need to do for the day. But we're only going to really be looking at this email related task. Within it, what you'll see is we get a breakdown of what the email said. So this actually hit my inbox, and then from my inbox, it got put into the TMS. The AI then at that point, what it does is it takes the details of the body of it and it builds a load for you. So you'll see the customers requesting a rate going from this zip to this zip, Atlanta to Chicago, dry van, 35,000 pounds, 24 pallets of dry food stuff. And over on the right side, what we're able to do is compare the load that it created. You'll see here I have a load, that's my number. And you'll see it's actually in this quote status. The reason that we have this is we want brokerages to track their win-loss ratios. If this load gets approved by the customer, they give me all the rest of the details. This load can move into a committed status. At that point, maybe I can delegate it to my carrier sales team, right, to go find capacity. But if I don't get it, I can mark this as a closed loss. And then I have data that can show me here are the lanes that we're winning on. Here's the lanes that we're losing on. Where can we be a little bit more competitive when it comes to pricing and hopefully win more freight, right? So as you can see over here, we have the customer. We have the person that sent me the email already put in here. We have our lane, Chicago. We have our 24 pallets, dry food stuff. So what we're doing is a couple things. One, we're eliminating the manual entry. I'm not having to copy this from my email and paste it into my TMS. We're decluttering your inbox because we're ensuring that all the quotes that you're getting sent to you are being captured and put into the TMS. So that way you can worry about all the other stuff that's in your inbox, right? And then this is going to allow us to quote back faster. So,
Yeah. Again, I'm sure the wheels are starting to spin now that you're seeing this, if it is for the first time. And really, we all know today's competitive, super fast-paced industry, time is money. So providing that exceptional service to your customers requires making very quick, confident decisions with the data that you have at your fingertips. So to Nick's point, with this email integration tool, you won't have to worry about any more missed quotes, cleaning up your broker's inbox, and you'll really be able to perform all that work from a single screen within your TMS, which is really important. And really all of this is to say that we can help you move faster. And that's where Nick is going to go in next and showcase exactly how we can make that happen from our truckload quoting page.
yeah, perfect. So typically, if your TMS isn't integrated with all of your rate tools, or it's really hard to find your historical data, your brokers are going to individual tabs. They're going to DAT and truck stop. They're pulling rates. So what Tai offers is we call it our truckload quoting page. There's a lot of different ways that we can get there, but let's just say, I got this email that was sent to me. I need to get a rate back to the customer really quickly. So after I reviewed the email, made sure everything is in here, we're going to go into our truckload quoting page. And what it's going to do is it's going to load up all of our integrations that we have. So if you're using DAT, Truck Stop, Freight Waves, Triumph, you're going to be able to pull all of those into this one screen so that you can accurately and quickly price the shipment. So what you're seeing here at the top, this right here is actually, think of it as your own internal data. So this is my data as a brokerage. If I was a real live brokerage, I've actually moved this lane about 3,300 times in the last 6 months, and my average rate is about $1,600. Now, comparing it to what the market is saying, I can see I'm a little high, but maybe this customer or this lane, I really like to pay carriers more money than what the market is saying. But it will give your team a really good idea on, are we being competitive? If I quote off of this 1600, could I potentially lose this quote, right? Because the market is telling me that it's right around that $1,000 mark, 1100. And now to get maybe a little bit deeper of a view, I could also come down here and look at some of my carriers that I've ran this lane with. But we'll come back here and I'll talk a little bit more about this. But not only can you compile all of your rate data with the other market intelligence tools out there, but you can see I've ran this lane several times, 1500, 1600. So what I can do right here is we have this edit pricing. We come in here, we can type in, we'll say, I want to get this for about 1650. I have a built-in margin with this customer of 15%. So it auto applies my 1941 in there for me. And now once the customer approves this, if they do, it's going to be sent over to another team to get coverage. So I want to let them know, I don't want you to book this more than 1700, let's say. So we'll save it. Now we have that record created. And right from here, we can send a message back to the customer. So we'll drop this in, and then we can choose from our templates. All of these templates are customizable. You can make them say whatever you want them to say. Mine customizes the subject line. We have the lane details. There's my 1941. But now I can also empower my customer to approve this quote directly from the email. You're not going to have to log into anything. They simply go in there, they see their price, they click approve, and at that point, we get it transferred over to the next team. So let's send it and wait for the approval.
Just like that. So you can see how powerful of a tool this really is, and keeping everything on one screen is really important. And really we agreed earlier, time's the most valuable asset. So being able to access that rate data from all sources between your own historical data, DAT, truck stop, sonar, whatever you're using in that one location on a single screen means no more clicking between screens or apps, or individual searches take a while. I know that's a big pain point. So now you've cut down your time to confidently quote a lane from, who knows how many minutes to mere seconds, really. So helping you get in front of your customer faster can really likely help you win more freight. So as you know, the more freight you win, there's going to be more work to do, which is a blessing, right? So Nick's going to actually show you how Tai can help you streamline your workflow and really automate where it matters.
Yeah, so our next topic is our workflow efficiency. We call it our workflow automation tool. Think of this tool as a set of different triggers, filters, and actions. So if this happens in the TMS, I want the TMS to do whatever it is, send an email, make an assignment, lots and lots of options. One of the workflows that I have created is to assign me a load once my customer approves that quote. As a brokerage, you're all over the place. You could be sending out quotes, you could be trying to find carriers, and you may not know necessarily that the customer has approved something. So what we have here is back again to our task list. You'll see I have a load and it's sitting in this committed status. So if I quickly go right here and go back into this truckload quoting page, now I'm going to be looking at the rates and the carriers for this load instead. But if we look at the activity log here, and I go to this pinned, you'll see the workflow automation assigned to carrier sales team. So with that tool, I was able to say when a load is moved into a committed status or it's approved by the customer, I want it to assign over to Nick. I want it to assign to my carrier sales team, because again, they're busy doing a lot of different things, and I want to make them aware that they have a load that they need to get coverage on. So that's what we're trying to do, is eliminate these manual assignments. We can automate emails to go to customers when their load is being picked up, when it's being delivered. The options are pretty endless when it comes to our workflow automation tool, and really driving that SOP and efficiency within your company.
Yeah, I'm sure you can start to see that theme here, right? It's efficiency matters. And I do want you to imagine for a second how much of your day right now is consumed by these manual tasks, whether it's just simply, building the loadout, searching for your rates, tracking shipments, updating customers. And really every minute of your day manually performing these tasks is another minute you're not putting into growing your book. So as you think about that for a minute, again, Nick is going to pull up the page to showcase how we're going to show you that data makes you or allows you for better decisions. So we'll pull that up.
Yeah, and the page that he's referring to is back again to this truckload quoting page. With the truckload quoting page, not only does it give you your historical rates, but it will also provide you with your historical carriers. It's going to be a mixture of carriers that we've used in the past, carriers that we've received quotes from, and that's really, really powerful information to have because as a broker previously in my life, there was a lot of posting, praying, hopefully somebody will call in. There was a lot of digging I had to do to find the right carrier for that load. And instead of having to dig around and post my freight, your team can just come right here. If you've ran this lane before, you have carriers that you've done it with, then we're going to show it to you all on one screen. So if we take a look here, you'll see I have K Logistics, and they're right at the top of the screen. The reason for it is they've actually sent me a quote, or they provided me a quote, and it's a 1650. I have a couple other quotes in here, but as you can see, these two carriers they're red. So we're going to be tracking not only, have they moved it, not only have they quoted me, but are they even active? So we have this authority and insurance, safety, and packet. That's going to make sure that your team is working with carriers that are already onboarded with you. We integrate with all of the carrier onboarding tools. So if something happens to that carrier, let's just say in highway or RMIS, that information is going to be translated back into the TMS to ensure that I'm using a carrier that is, one, reputable, but also they have the right amount of insurance. So if we look at K Logistics a little bit more, if we drop down, you'll actually see I use this carrier pretty frequently for this lane. I put him on a load just yesterday. I paid him $16.50. If we needed to, we could even open up the load and take a look at it. But I feel pretty confident that this carrier can move this one for me. Now, you may be asking, like, how did I get this quote in here? Well, you'll see over here we have this check mark button. If you check mark your carriers, you'll see how it's only highlighting the carriers that are set up with me, but we can actually email each individual carrier from here. And within that email, we can provide them a link. And that link allows them to enter in their rate that they can move it for. If they're not interested in it, they can tell us they're not interested. But we can then pull that in here, allowing your team to know, hey, we got a quote, we can get somebody on it. If I really wanted to go with that quote, I could grab them directly from this screen and select them for the load. But let's talk about a couple other things that you can do in here. Not always are you going to have just a book of business of carriers that you can reach out to. Every lane is different. You may be a lane that you've never used before or been, or you've never found capacity for it. So we integrate with all of the load boards. You can post your freight from here. We also integrate with all the capacity tools, Parade, Trucker Tools, Cargo Chief, and so forth. So we can bring in those carriers from those tools. But one of the biggest challenges I had when I was moving freight was when I did post a load to the load board, I didn't really have a place to save quotes that I was getting over the phone. So we have this button right here. This is add new carrier quote. Tai is directly tied into the FMCSA. So let's say you post it out there, you get phone calls, you can just simply type in a MC number of any carrier. You put in their name, who you're talking to, you can list where they're calling you from, but then we can save that quote in here and we can refer back to it later on. And we could also use the data that's in here to negotiate with that carrier too. And maybe they're quoting me really high. Well, Mr. Carrier, we've ran this lane several times with other carriers for 1,500, 1,600, but there might become a day where all your capacity that you use on a regular basis is booked up or they're not in the area, right? So we might have to go to these carriers, and still we could use that leverage of, hey, you quoted me $1,900 on the last time that I had this lane that was really high. Is there any way that you can go down? We would love to work with you, right? So that's going to help your team not only use reoccurring capacity, but also capture all the quotes that you're getting phone calls from. Now, there's a ton more that we can do in here. We have what we call carrier rules. If there's specific carriers that maybe that customer isn't a huge fan of, right? We can actually place rules in place that say that carrier can't run a lane for them. That's why John Cox Trucking here, they're all set up with me, but this carrier can't run freight for this customer. Some other things too, if we come over here to our criteria, we can really look outwards or we can pull this in a little bit more. So, time span of 6 months, that's a pretty big time span. So if you wanted to move this to the last month, you could do that. Maybe you're struggling with finding a carrier within a 100-mile radius. So maybe we can push it out to a state search instead. Or we're getting a lot of results like you're seeing here. Maybe we want to limit that down to just the zip code range. Tai also offers what we call labels. This is a pretty cool feature because maybe you have a subset of carriers that you use for very specific freight, hazmat freight, FEMA loads, drayage carriers, over-dimensional carriers. With labels, it allows you to group carriers into different groups, you could say. So here are my favorite flatbed carriers. And that would simply show you on this list of your carriers that meet that label that you're choosing. And then lastly, this down here, we can pull in more carriers. So if we don't have any options, one of the coolest features I feel like is this one here, which is called include backhaul carriers. Every brokerage, at least in my opinion, they want to give a load to a carrier, but it would be fantastic if we can hook that carrier up with another backhaul after they're done with that delivery. So what this would do if we check this is it would look through the TMS and it's going to look for any loads that are currently on the road that are headed to Atlanta. It would show me, hey, K Logistics has a load. They're on the way to Atlanta. They'll be there today or tomorrow. And then that gives us another opportunity to reach out to that carrier and maybe even get a lower price to book it. But once we get a carrier, at the end of the day, let's go ahead and select this guy. We can come right to our SIM message. And again, with our templates, you can send the rate confirmation to them. They can digitally sign it. And we now book that freight.
I love how easy that is. And really, when you see like the capabilities that Tai has, how deep it can really go, the options are really endless. But turning back, like the market, as we talked about, is shifting. Carrier relationships are very, very important, as we all kind of know. And really, I just want you to think back to the last time that you had to eat some costs because you either underquoted a lane or even worse, you trusted a shady character from the load board. You're posted and praying, as you mentioned. We don't want to be there. But being able to quickly identify all those carriers that have ran that lane for you, obviously building better carrier relationships, but also helps you reduce your reliance on those boards. So again, putting it briefly, Tai can help stop you from chasing down multiple sources over several different platforms, and it can place it all right at your fingertips. Really, at the end of the day, this is just going to allow you to provide better customer service and protection for your customers to keep them really happy, which is what this is all about. And really with that, I did want to let Nick kind of recap what we covered today and really end us with some insight on how it's going to help accomplish your goals in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what we're seeing with the brokers that are using Tai, they're reducing the two biggest threats to customer retention. Slow response times can kill it. Execution errors can kill it. And that's what we're helping decrease, right? With our email integration, we're ensuring every quote is being captured, put in front of the team to respond quickly. Our brokers are getting quotes back to their customer quicker because they have the rate tools right in front of them. And with our workflow automation tool, we're making sure nothing falls through the cracks. And whether it's sourcing capacity, adding alerts to a load, keeping your customer updated, you could almost call the workflow tool like a headcount, right? It's just doing all of these things for me without me having to touch anything. And the data tools ensure the team is working with carriers who are reliable and aligned with the customer's uh, service expectations. From the customer's perspective, this means they experience quicker turnarounds, fewer issues, more accurate pricing, and consistent communication, which at the end of the day is going to naturally lead to more growth with your current book of business. So I hope with what I showed today, kind of implemented that, and you guys can see how this tool can help you grow with your customers and help protect their business.
Yeah, no, and really, again, helping all of you move faster, stay in control, and keep more margin in your corner is going to be really important for 2026. And really, Nick just scratched the surface on some of the capabilities. Each workflow is going to be different for each one of you, depending on how you run your book. And there's so many different ways you can configure Tai to make it really easy for your team. So what we would like to do, if you need to see this in a deeper demo form, please reach out to us, send me an email, write it in the chats. But we want to show you how it's going to work for your book, because not everybody is the same. But outside of that, we did want to go to the chat. If you had any questions, you could place them in there, and we'll kind of answer some questions that you might have. All right.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got one question. Does the market intelligence also show the user's origin and destination market capacity? No, it doesn't currently. I think that is something that's on our roadmap to implement, like an integrations from DAT, for example, to implement it. I believe with our integrations with, they're called Triumph Intelligence now, used to be known as green screens. We have their entire widget that is built into the TMS. So that can give you a little bit of data as far as the market trends, but not necessarily showing load to truck ratios, but I do like where you're coming at with that.
Perfect. Do we have any other questions? Any comments? All right. Well, I'm really hoping you guys had kind of seen the value. Again, every workflow is going to be different. And I want to preface, I think it's really important to see how we can, configure it to your business if you really want to go further. So please reach out to us. Like I said, send it in the chat, send me an email. I believe we'll have a link on here as well that you can register to. But yeah, other than that, if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Again, appreciate taking the time out of your day to take a look at Tai and what we can do.
Yeah, thanks again.